It's more fun for me to talk to you about these shows because I can get into the seat of enjoying them instead of really taking it on emotionally.
Don't take it on emotionally because just remember all these people that are on it, they signed up for it. They're not required to be there by law. They've all signed up for it. They're all getting paid for it. Some of them you can tell, no, like I make good TV, I'm going to do this. I mean, some of them have like been training their whole life for this, like put me in, you know? Some of them you can tell are like, I can't wait to be on TV. And some are genuinely there, you know, as they say on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or Bachelor for the right reasons, you know? Yeah.
I just joked. Now you're rolling our cue. So I can start. Hi, everybody. Bonfire Talks with your boy Mark. I got a really fun episode. I'm pretty psyched about this and a little nervous. But I was just telling my guest, who I'll tell you, she's here. I guess I can say Mary Payne Gilbert is here from Pink Shade podcast. And you have lots of podcasts.
No,
I
just have the one, but we do like Patreon Supercast, and I do a lot of shows on the same podcast.
Right.
Yes.
So Pink Shade pod for all things reality. And I'm going to get this is sort of like a work session for me. It's like I'm auditing the Pink Shade class right now.
Oh, Lord.
But before I get there, I was going to tell you about Kaylin and I just joked about this, is that Kaylin agreed to be the producer and said, yeah, I'll produce your podcast. And he's now become a life coach. So I literally come in here, every time we go to do an episode, I come in here with all my feelings, and he's like, you're probably leaning in a little tight. You need to let go and just it's okay. And we're this short of hugging it out. But
we'll get there.
I don't get it because you're like the professional soothsayer of those Temptation Island people.
So let's get into that then.
So now Kaylin has to soothsay you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's why I was, I had Patrick and Dylan from
Bad TV.
Bad TV. And I say, what's interesting is that you guys talk about reality TV, and I'm kind of OG in that world.
Yeah.
To use the language of my people. And I don't know what people those are. But in this world, I'm a rookie.
Okay.
I've been on everyone's podcast, yours included.
Yeah, of course.
And being a guest on others' podcasts is really easy for me, and I enjoy it. But inviting people into my home, per se, makes me, I talk about this too much. Everybody's like, get the fuck over it at this point. Especially Kaylin, who is very gentle with me, but I think he goes home to his partner and goes, this guy is an absolute wreck.
No.
And everything you see on TV is a sham.
I don't think that's true, but I think it's okay to be nervous about a new thing. Like, I'm not used to having like cameras on me other than my, MacBook. So, I don't love that. What we just learned at this podcast conference we just went to, what we learned is the video and the YouTube and the AI, that's where everything's going. It was like, we all got into podcasting to talk, not to be seen.
Yeah.
And it's different for women too, because, a lot of guys could just like, think about Dylan and Pat, they can just sit here throwing a hat and be like, great. But for me, I'm like, oh my God, I got to do the lipstick. I got to make sure my hair's clean. I like to podcast in my PJs.
I'm a fan of that myself. And by the way, you look camera ready and fabulous.
Well, on purpose, but it just took time. And
Just so you're aware of the respect I have for you is that I put on an adult shirt.
Thank you.
And I have pants.
Thank you.
And I'm not wearing a hat. This is to me as though I put on wardrobe for you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But I really, I know that that's the way it's going. And we have friends that do podcasts that have never shown their faces ever. They're just, I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen to them.
Well,
but that's rough.
When I was on your podcast, I felt like we were Zooming, but it didn't.
I don't know.
That was what I was seeing you, but we weren't.
Yeah, we're seeing each other.
Yeah, but
and
it's still
sometimes I'm
listen
recording
only.
the video, and sometimes we're not.
I see.
It's probably with you. We probably did because we wanted to get like social media clips, to
and
promote
for
it.
people to be clear, which Mark Wahlberg you're talking to
make sure
so
people don't
lower
think
expectation.
No funky bunch.
I understand.
Involved
happens every day.
But yeah, so that's kind of the way it's all going. So I guess my producer's like, you're just gonna have to get over it.
Which is funny because all your stuff is about reality TV, and now you are on.
I don't want to be. I don't. I had a full panic attack at my wedding because my mom had to like break out her baggie of pills and like get me a Xanax. I was like, what's this? Because I was like, I don't want all these people looking at me. Like, really, I don't like it.
You know, my daughter-in-law said the same thing. She wanted to marry my son. I love her more than my own children, by the way. So, and for my own children, step up your game. Okay, because there are 3 of you now, and you guys are ranking 2 and 3, and it's a distant 2 and 3. Actually 4 and 5, because the dogs. It goes Carissa, daughter-in-law, dogs, and then Morgan and Goldie. It's fluid. Who's 4th and 5th?
Depends on the day.
But anyway, what I loved about her is that she wanted to marry him, but didn't want to be a bride and do that whole thing. So I can relate. And by the way, having spent my entire professional life in front of the camera, it's as cringe for me as you feel possibly now, is that every episode I have to watch.
Right.
Because they make you watch, because I don't know what's going to be in the episode that I have to talk about with, on podcasts and stuff.
Right.
And literally I have to watch it twice, because the first time is like, why did no one tell me that my hair was stupid?
Right.
And then I can listen to the content. Mm-hmm. So I don't think you ever outgrow that. So give yourself a little love there, because it's just awkward. I had to go to a
photo shoot the other day.
The worst.
It's like, lean here, neck forward, to the left, up, look out the window. And I was oh my God. I was like, this is the worst.
Every season, when I show up to an island, the first thing that happens, which is usually before I got a tan and before I'm feeling good, I have to do a whole photo gallery, still photos, which is the most awkward thing in the world, and everybody's looking at you. And I'll never forget, like, I'm doing the best I can. The guy's doing his best to get it out of me. He says, now, Mark, what I want you to do is I want you to give me your most alpha vibe ever. And in saying that, I became as beta as anybody could be.
What am I supposed to do? And I put up your muscle.
Everything. I just withered into every middle school bullied situation in my life.
It was a lot of like, do this, now give me a smirk. I was like, really? Okay.
So do you think maybe that's going to change how you look at reality TV when you're watching the people that are on it, or no?
Oh, like, do I feel bad for them? Yeah, do I? Probably not.
Probably not.
I'm just like, you signed up for this. They probably gave you $10,000, and now your Instagram went up, and now you can sell flat tummy tea.
All right. Whatever. Well, that. All right. I'm going to get my phone, because I took some notes while I was sitting here thinking about you. That sounded creepy, as it relates to reality TV, because it's bizarre to me that I've now found myself in the circle with Patrick and you and all these people whose business is my business from the different angle.
Talking about your business. Yeah.
Right. And now, and I realized that while I have been part of reality TV since it started, really, I haven't necessarily been the viewer of reality TV.
So you don't watch any reality TV?
Until this season. And I watched Love is Blind.
So good. It was
so good.
Such a great season.
So, and again, my life coach, Kaylin, tells me I overthink things, and it's true. So even in that, I was overthinking that whole show, but there was so much about that show that made me, it affirmed things I thought about my own show and other shows, and left me understanding better why audiences love this stuff.
Right.
And my biggest takeaway on Love is Blind was that I love that, in fact, the tension grows for the first 3 episodes without them doing anything. There's no banging it out like on my show in the first 30 minutes.
Your show, it's the first 30 minutes. Everybody's...
It was. We'll see as things go forward.
Okay.
Because I have said for years, because you got to remember, you're not old enough to know this, but the original Temptation Island back in 2001, and I had to remind somebody this recently. It was 7 episodes, and it was a huge hit.
Yeah.
And the big drama, now granted, things have changed, but the big drama was that somebody kissed in the 6th episode.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
But I've said forever the slow burn is better than the fast bonfire.
Yeah.
And so that's why I loved about Love is Blind is that they hook you immediately with who we want to see work out.
Yeah.
Which I think is really it, isn't it?
And then also you're seeing the behind the scenes of Love is Blind, and you're like, oh, okay, you could tell none of the guys like Matthew, for example. None of the guys like him. So that's interesting, right? Because you don't on other reality shows where they're all in the house together, you can get the vibe. But the girls have no idea what the other guys like.
Well, the other guys that they're talking to's opinion of the guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, you might be like, why do they all think he's a jerk?
And that comes up later, I think, with Chelsea. Was it Chelsea and Jimmy? Or I forgot when they were like...
Oh, yeah, because Jeremy was happy that Jimmy was getting the heat and it was off him and he was being a jerk to Jimmy.
Oh, I think they were saying about Jeremy or something, but basically selling each other out. You're like, I didn't have any idea.
That he was saying that stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Love is Blind was really, really big for the podcast, which was crazy because I think I covered it before, but just sort of like, here's what happened. But I didn't like turn by turn by turn.
Yeah.
Really do it like we do it.
Yeah.
And it made because it's on the Prime, which is Patreon and Supercast, made our numbers go way up, and they got a huge like social media with the clips and stuff, which for me is really big because I'm, trying to grow that social media, just, and I'm an elder, so I'm like, what?
I've been on TV for 35 years. Yeah. I have 5 followers. Don't worry about it.
I'm like, somebody help me.
Yeah.
So, but it actually gave us a boost because the clips were really funny, the way the social media I was like, this is funny what we said. And then she made it into a funny reel. Now, what she doesn't know is what we just learned at the podcast conference. You just hit a little button on your AI and now it makes the reel for you.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
I should have probably gone to this conference.
Well, my producer Ingrid is very like, nerd. She went to every panel, talked to every AI person. She's like, the future is YouTube. I was like, really? Haven't YouTube been around for forever? No, the future is YouTube.
No matter what happens, I still love you more than any other producer.
I know, but I mean, he knows all this stuff too. He's over there running all this stuff.
Why do you think? All right, so what I'm getting into right now is trying to reverse engineer and study why audiences love the kind of shows that you love and that I end up hosting, so that I can do it better. Mm-hmm. Because if given the chance to do it again.
Did you just look right at the camera and do that?
That's what we do.
Okay.
We're on TV.
Okay, not this person.
No?
Not this guy.
I did. I looked right at the camera to my friends. I do this at home, my imaginary friends. That's who I talk to. But, I find it really interesting that I've done this for all these years, and I don't really watch a whole lot of these shows.
That is interesting.
And now I'm kind of like really interested in, like, I've never Vanderpumped. Ever. I don't know if it's a verb.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, Vanderpump Rules is a good gateway drug, but it's been on a long time, so you'll just have to say, I'm settling in.
Right. See, that's the problem.
I'm starting from the beginning.
Do you have to?
Yeah,
you got to start from the beginning.
You're going to have to say, I understand it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
It's going to take a while. And I've did that one time with Love Island UK Season 3. As the listeners, like, if you're ever going to watch Love Island, it should be Season 3. I'm like, all right.
All right.
It's 50 episodes. You know how they do in the UK? They put it on every night.
Yeah.
So I did it, and I was a better person for it.
Were you?
It was great. Because it's the accents, everybody's always in a bikini, so now when people talk about Love Island, I know what they're talking about.
That's right.
But I haven't had to watch 400 more episodes. I don't have to watch it again. Now I know.
So it's now become your avocation or vocation. It's pretty much
I advocate for my vocation. Yes.
Yeah. So, but if you watch just for fun, what's your go-to? Like, what's your favorite reality show?
My favorite reality show. Well, I got to tell you, I mean, there's so many like really bad ones that
you love to hate, kind of love.
Listen, I love all the Housewives. Mm. I do. I love the old Real Housewives of New York. I'm leaning into the new one. I love Beverly Hills. I'm big on Bravo. So only on the podcast I cover Bravo on Thursdays. Mm-hmm. It's sort of like right now we're doing Vanderpump Rules in the Valley. But when Real Housewives of New Jersey comes back, we'll talk about it too.
So I can't start with the Valley if I don't know Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah, I think you can.
I can?
I think you can because
it's starting. It's just started.
I know. We're on episode 2, so you've got plenty of time.
Okay.
Because Jax and Brittany that come over from Vanderpump, you don't need to know the backstory of Jack to see Jax right away, just to understand who he is in the first episode because he hadn't changed.
Can I call you like offline for a catch up? Like I don't understand this.
What's the deal with Kristen? Yeah. Why do people call her Crazy Kristen? Yeah. When the scandal all happened with Vanderpump, Bravo put out a list of like, if you've never watched it, here are the top 10 episodes, like by season, by episode that you could watch that would explain it all to you.
That's a smart idea.
Oh, yeah.
They
were leaning way in. Yeah.
Yeah. It's Spark Notes for that. Mm-hmm. How it all happened for me, by the way, is like I I was on the road doing Wheel of Fortune Live.
Yeah.
Which is not a reality show, but, Kaylin, what I'd like to do is wire the entire bus with cameras and mics.
Okay.
And let that be the next reality show, because that would be fun. But nonetheless, my whole crew, we're all living on a bus together. And when we finally got the TV to work, which was a big day for us.
I can't imagine on a bus how you would get it to work. It's satellite?
Yes, but it should work. It's kind of every tour has a TV. But we didn't for a long time. And when it did, they turned on Love is Blind. And I literally rolled my eyes going, I don't know if I can do a reality show, man. It's like, and I immediately jumped to, I need to talk to Kenneth. I need to talk to you.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm not sure I'm buying what you're selling, and I want to make sure that because I love so much of what you said, and then when you got home.
He didn't feel the crave, in the words of Brittany.
The crave, yes.
Didn't have the crave.
But I did, however, love Clay right off the bat.
Clay, I love, but I also am not buying what he's selling either.
Well, I don't see. Brings me to my wish.
Yes,
my wish is that all reality shows, when you're voted off or it's over, you end up like there's a portal to my bonfire.
Yes, that's right. That'd
so
be great.
I could talk to Clay about. I think your heart's in the right place.
Yes.
And I think that the issues with your dad are legit.
Oh, yeah, we saw him.
Yes.
Yeah, we saw him.
And so therefore I've got some room for you, Clay, to say, I understand your fear. I understand you're stopping and not wanting to commit and don't seeing yourself being a husband and all that stuff. But let's talk about that from an emotional standpoint.
The stuff with Clay and his dad, and then the mom kind of telling the dad, like, I'm just learning something just now.
Yes.
And let's talk about that. So he said, my dad would take me with him when he would cheat on my mom. Is that literally like dad's got a bank trip planned and he's like, oh, let's pretend I'm going to take him on a college tour? Or was he taking him to track meets at other towns and then hooking up with women and like bringing him back to the hotel? What was that like when he was saying my dad would take me with him when he cheated on my mom?
Well,
that's what I was trying to figure out.
Even on my show, I've had conversations, some of which have aired, and some have been offline conversations that I've had with singles as well as couples, where you see this behavior on camera and in life that you're like, what? You can't be that deaf to personal emotion. But then when you hear the backstory behind it, you realize how things get perpetuated. And I know from a reality viewer standpoint, where we're supposed to just enjoy the mess as a guilty pleasure, what has made me arguably crazy is that none of it I take lightly. And all of it to me is indicative of, like an emotional intelligence vacuum or opportunity. So like even on my show where there were people who were villains, like Kendall on season.
Oh God, that guy.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then it hit me at the reunion where everybody's piling on him and I'm on the same boat because I felt like he was being completely like just obtuse and shitty. And then I stopped in the middle and I said, you know what? I have to apologize to you. And he looked at me like, what? I said, I think I failed you.
Yeah, but
I never asked you why you have so much pain.
Like, why are you like that? There's got to be a reason.
Right. And that's what I think was fascinating to me about Love is Blind and fascinating now. What's always been fascinating to me in human relationship. But I'm wondering if that's the underlying vibe that we all as viewers pick up on. Like that's the thing is that when we see behavior that's just crazy.
Yeah.
That we wonder where it comes from. And then we find out.
Yeah, you're just like, it's a joke, but we do. It's like, who hurt you? Like, show us on the doll where somebody hurt you. Because something terrible happened.
But then doesn't that give you the space to let, like I wouldn't mind talking to Tom Sandoval.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't get anywhere.
Yeah, I know.
You wouldn't get anywhere. It's just.
Have you talked to him?
No. I mean, I've met him, but like at Tom briefly. Like, hey, fan, take a picture.
Yeah,
years ago. But no, I think that you can see on the television that no one gets anywhere with him because he's very, in my opinion, a narcissist, and you can't move the ball. You can't get through.
Well, narcissism clinically, I'm not saying, Tom, you are or aren't, but speaking of narcissism from a clinical standpoint, although I'm not a therapist, but you can't get through to that. That gaslighting and deflecting and turning it around,
not taking any accountability.
There is no accountability, and I even have a little bit of warm spot or soft spot for that too, because I find in true narcissists they're not electing narcissism. It's not like they're doing it knowingly. They truly believe what they're saying is your fault. Yeah. And I see it, God, don't get me started in the political world, but we see it a lot of times, especially with anybody in power. It's like crazy. Yeah, and I've had my narcissistic moments myself.
I mean, everybody does. Yeah. And the joke is everybody here in LA, everybody's, some kind of any narcissist, or anybody that's in performing is some kind of narcissist here and there. But I think that when you look at people some people on these reality shows, you're like, okay, that is what it is. It's a person that just talks in a circle, talks above you, around you, but doesn't ever hear what you're saying, or saying, you could be right. Maybe I played that wrong. Oh, wow, actually I hurt that person. I shouldn't have done that. With somebody like Sandoval, it's just like, how many times do I have to say I'm sorry? And you're like, just until somebody believes you, and it's just.
Well, until you shine the light off of me.
Yeah. It's just with. Yeah, he's a real case study. He's a real case study.
It's funny you say case study, because to me it's hard for me to watch it casually.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like my thing.
But I've been watching those people for 10 years.
Yeah. They're family to you.
Season 1, episode 1, Sandoval shaving his forehead. They'd show him in the bathroom, he's shaving his face, always shaving his forehead, his neck, everything. And they're like, he's like dermaplaning himself at age 24. Wow. He's always had that, Yeah.
Who do you love? Who are you just a stand for?
I love, well, it's not going to age well, but I do love when she was on television before she got canceled. I loved on my television Stassi Schroeder, who was on Vanderpump Rules for a long time. She's now, a grown-up, married with 2 kids, and she's still friends with some of them, but she's like, no, never again. I don't want to be on reality TV. She and Kristen Doty, who is now back on The Valley, got, cancel culture, got canceled because of a terrible prank they did, and they were accused of racism and all that, and they both got fired from Vanderpump Rules. Yeah. Kristen has taken a few years. She's back on our television. She too is on The Valley. She's like, an engaged, older, 40-year-old woman trying to have a baby. It's a whole different story now than when you're a young and stupid bartender and doing stupid shit because you're on TV. Sure. And now you look at it later, you're like, why did I think that was funny? Or why did I do that? So it's a little bit interesting. But Stassi,
you kind of grew up with her.
If you do go back and watch all of Vanderpump, which I recommend, you'll see why Stassi is a reality star.
I have to watch it for a couple reasons. One, I'm tired of not getting references.
Right.
And 2, I had Robert Parks Valletta on the podcast.
Rob can hang a TV in 7 minutes.
7 minutes. Yes. That was the first thing that he told me. And I know him from years ago and have no reference to him on TV other than as an actor and producer and a host. And so we talked about that. And he actually talked about some stuff that I was unaware of, that you may be unaware of. That was on my podcast last
then week. I should go and listen to that.
Well, you and the other dozens who have enjoyed it.
Okay.
But he did say that, that season of Vanderpump, he didn't take any money. He did it because they alluded to that Sheena would break her contract if he wasn't on it. Like they were alluding to, if you don't do it, Sheena's in trouble.
Because she needs to show her life, show her boyfriend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so he said, rather than taking this paltry amount of money you've offered me, why don't we say no money, but I'll come and go as I please. And he did it more as a gift of love. I thought that was, by the way, it's the Rob I know.
Yeah.
And that was, I thought, interesting.
I think she still talks about him fondly. I don't think there was any problem there.
I think they still, well, at least Rob said that they still are in touch.
But I mean, the season was ridiculous. I mean, she's just like, Rob can hang a TV in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
That's how she talks. And then she also would say, we've already named our children Madison Marie Parks Valletta. She's like Madison Marie Parks Valletta. I mean, I'll never get over it.
So you make it more fun for me.
I
think I don't want to watch reality TV. I think I want to watch it with you.
Yeah.
That would be more fun for me.
I mean, God, it's funny. That Sheena is funny, but she's still on. She's a season winner. I mean, they've got, who's still on that show? We've got Tom Sandoval, Tom Schwartz, Katie Maloney, Sheena. Those are the original cast. James and Lala are new in the last few years. Raquel, who Sandoval cheated with, she's
Yes.
gone.
Yes.
And Stassi and Jax were gone because they were a couple, and then they weren't. And now Jax has got this spinoff, which Stassi was invited to be on. She's like, no. She's like, number one, I don't live in the Valley. Number two, I don't want to hang around these people. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's got her life together. Yeah.
Well, I think I'm going to start watching The Valley. I watched a little Golden Bachelor.
I watched I watched it, but sort of like while I was on my phone. You know what I mean? If I'm not taking notes, I never have to really talk about it.
Yeah.
Which is nice for me. I just sort of half watch it, but I knew the players, knew the game. I knew what was happening there.
And now I just saw today on my Instagram, where I get all my news, that Jerry and his wife, his new bride, aren't in a house together.
Okay. I don't know. I think he saw like dollar signs in her. I think she maybe lives in Charleston.
That brings me to the first thing I wrote on my notes app to talk to you about, which is, let me give you a backstory on this.
Okay.
I did the first reunion special we ever did a few years ago.
Okay.
And I hosted it. But I had never seen a reunion special that Andy Cohen or anybody else does.
Okay.
Okay? And my wife was out of town and my kids were wherever they were because they don't live with me anymore.
Yeah.
But you're always welcome to move back. But anyway, so I'm hosting the show. And if you've seen me and we've talked about it, I kind of hold on a little tight to the people on the show. It matters to me and it's real to me.
Yeah.
So the train wreck of it all was more than I could deal with. So we shoot the show, and I mean, it was the season with the two Ashleys, and she's taking off her earrings and her shoes, and they're getting ready to fight, and there's KB who's 6'6" and kind of threatening me, and the whole thing. It was just so much happening, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And I finished the episode, and I literally texted my daughter, I think, and said, I have failed as a host. I have been hosting shows for decades, and I've never felt like they're unairable, and this one is unairable, and I'm probably going to be fired. This reunion is unairable. It's just not watchable.
Really?
And and I said, and everyone hates one another, and I feel like I was part of this horrible, horrible, toxic, hatred that they have for one another, that I feel like whatever I try to do, whatever catalyst to growth, none of that happened, and they're all enemies. And she doesn't respond, and then she sends me a picture that one of them had just posted that all of them were at the club afterwards having a great time together. And she said, I think you're taking it too seriously. Yeah. And then within getting the text, I get another text from the producer saying, this reunion is fantastic. And
of course, the more drama, the better.
Yeah, but I end up crying, literally crying afterwards. I can't deal with it. I had to learn, I got an earpiece, and they're like, don't say anything, Mark. Let it happen. I'm like, but they're hurting each other.
Yeah.
So hard for me. I don't know why I brought that up, but I was starting to say something.
I don't know, but I think maybe that's,
The sport of it.
Yeah.
Like everybody's in on the joke but me, it seems like.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you would be in tears or have your feelings hurt over them fighting at the reunion, where the production is probably like, this is great TV.
Well,
yeah.
That's true, but that's the thing that I kind of am not sure of either, because I know how my production on shows I've been on is, and I don't know what it's like on others. Mm-hmm. So while I know that they're in the booth going, oh my God, that's drama, and it's great, I don't see them sparking that drama. I don't see, on our show specifically, I don't see them going, I need you to go after him.
Right.
That kind of...
we definitely get that on other shows, for sure. Production's in their ear.
I'm sure.
Yeah. At lunch, you need to bring up this, or, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's some of that, but I can honestly tell you that I don't see, nor have I really seen anything that's made me go, never given me the ick about how we are proactive in the drama. Now, letting it happen, letting them do what they naturally do and go at each other like that.
Yeah.
I had to learn to step back, and it's okay. They're all adults. Everybody's okay. And then I step in when I really can't take it anymore, and that's okay too.
Yeah. On Temptation Island, though, from my experience, it's not too much fighting. Especially, it seems the women on that show really seem it becomes
a girl club.
Because the girl club, the ones that are in the couples, yeah.
And with the singles, usually they get at each other, but usually it's not that they, you were with my man kind of thing. It's like they become sisters even in that situation.
I really, for Temptation Island, my note would be, we need to see more of the behind the scenes. I need to know I wanted this on Love is Blind too. Where are these people sleeping? Like, I need to know where they're sleeping. I was very upset not to see it.
Well, that's another thing that I like, but I'm not the producer. Right. I like full transparency.
Yeah, I like to see them walking around, talking in the bathroom and stuff. Yeah.
But even like in the content, like I always say to my people when they start to front, I'll call out, look, I know you think you can manage this on TV. You know, I like to say that. I like to say, this is a TV show, and I know you think it's just a TV show.
Yeah.
But it's real. But what I was going to ask you is, from your seat, how important to the audience is the authenticity of a relationship we're watching, or are we just along for the sport?
It depends on the show because, you know, when we talk about Temptation Island, it's almost like it's like a game show with no prize, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you know, so it is like a Survivor almost, right? It's like a reality show that is sports, whereas like Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is just a reality show, right? So on something like Temptation Island, even Love is Blind, like there's like a winner, right? Because you're winning something.
Yeah. I guess what I'm speaking to is...
It's different. I do like... You know, on a lot of the shows that I watch, like Housewives and stuff, you know, you could tell when the people aren't really friends and they're really just filming because this person's cast on the show because they're friends with XYZ, so you have to film with them. The best is when they just flat out go, like, who's this girl? I don't know her. Like, I'm 50 and she's 25. Why am I hanging? I don't want to hang out with her. Like, I like it when they just call it out.
I'm glad to hear you say that. Yeah. I like that, too.
Yeah.
I like that personally, and I also like watching when the curtain gets lifted.
Yeah.
So we're not... So for instance, what I don't like, what's difficult for me to process is shows, and I got to be careful because I don't mean any harm to any other show, but when I watch shows like The Bachelor, not just The Bachelor, but shows like that, and they've just met, and within a minute of me having seen them meet for the first time, they say, I think I'm falling in love.
Oh, that drives me crazy.
Yeah, I feel like, but I think that's true on all of our shows, that it's like you got to let it percolate for a second.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, okay. That was the Golden Bachelor, too. Some of those women are like, I don't know, he's just everything I've been looking for, everything I've wanted. Really? That guy? Really?
Well, that goes back to the very beginning of the Bachelor franchise altogether.
Yeah.
The first season, I remember saying, so 25 girls are going to fight for the affection of a guy who they probably wouldn't give their number to in a club.
Right. And, you know, and it's all like, if all the stuff he's saying is true, if this guy does have this great job and is nice to his family and, you know, loves his sister and, you know, is all these things that you would want in a partner, but then he's also making out and possibly banging 3 other girls. I mean, maybe that's not great. Maybe that's...
Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe that's not for me.
Maybe
like, you know what I mean? And you know, like, oh, well, it's part of the process, so I have to understand that he's going to kiss all these other girls, but it's sort of like, that's where I would be like, no, if you picked me, you picked me, and now we're done, and we're gonna leave.
Can we go back to Love is Blind for a minute?
Yeah, please.
Because I became very invested in these couples.
So good.
And now I understand. Now I get it, you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, just across the board on all of our shows.
Yeah.
I get it. And so Jimmy and Amy, not Jimmy, Johnny and Amy.
Yes.
Are still
so many J's on that show.
Jeremy, Jimmy, and Johnny.
Yeah. Jessica.
And Jessica.
Mm-hmm.
But Johnny and Amy.
Yeah.
They're adorable.
They at some point we're like, we're done. Like, it's boring now.
Yeah.
No drama, nothing to see here.
But see, I just want to watch only that.
Yeah, well, by the time we got to them, because we did the Clay and AD thing, and then we ended with them, I'm like, should have ended with the Clay and AD thing, because it was so sweet. My favorite thing of when they were showing the reception, and Johnny's brother had his arm around Amy's autistic brother that she had talked about how much she had to protect. And, you know, they were doing like,
but that was
cheers.
The very beginning. She's like, look, know that if you marry me, there's a good chance I'm going to be taking care of him.
Yeah. It was very interesting, right? Because everybody's like, with their thing up. And sweet brother had nothing in his hand. He's like, yes. And he has an arm around it. It was the cutest thing.
I know.
It was the cutest thing. My question, she kept talking about how her dad takes care of her brother, and if something happened to her dad, the brother would come and live with them. I was like, but we clearly saw the mother. Yeah. They are still married. It's not like a weird, they've been married for X long. I mean, I was like, why wouldn't, somebody tell us why the mother can't take care of him.
I feel like sometimes there are agreed upon off-camera things that we're not going to discuss.
I guess so, yeah.
And there are going to be holes in the script, essentially.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to give room for that.
Yeah, I think so.
So I kind of look at it from a macro standpoint now that I'm a new viewer of these things, where I kind of just want to vibe. Like
So you don't want to ask too many questions, and I want to.
I do.
That's all I do is poke holes.
Oh, I want to ask questions.
Yeah.
But mine are all emotional intelligence questions.
Okay, mine
like
are
I
all...
want to talk to, like I was all about Kenneth and Brittany.
Yeah.
And I like Brittany very much. And at least from what, and I don't know if I saw all of every episode because I might have fallen asleep for a couple, but I really bought her.
Yeah.
100%. And then I didn't 100% buy him from the beginning, but I liked where he was going, the things he was saying.
Yeah.
And then they got out of the pods and got to the house. And I think that's one of the beauties of the show, is that it goes where other shows don't go. And then he showed up to be something other than the rap he had in the pods.
I think
I'm not saying he's a bad guy.
No, I think he's a great guy. I think I
like him very much, by the way.
What was super interesting about the two of them at the reunion, I would have loved more information about what's going on, because she was like rubbing his leg, and she said, we talk every day, and when he finds somebody new, and I'm like, I'm going to tell you something, if he finds somebody new, he's probably not going to appreciate this leg rubbing that's going on. And that was weird. And even with Chelsea and Jimmy, they were sort of touchy.
That's what Johnny and Amy just said on my Instagram, where I get all my news. Something about that they're very, very, very good friends. Jimmy and Chelsea are very good friends, so they're like still in each other's lives at a regular clip. But
somebody else pointed out
did I say
Jimmy and Chelsea.
Did I say the right names?
Chelsea, Jimmy and Chelsea. Yeah. That when the whole thing came out, when she got drunk and said, like, you fucked your friend, all that. That probably part of the problem, in addition to him telling her that, like in confidence, like just to be transparent, like, my one friend 2 years ago, we had a minute, but we're still friends, and it didn't mean whatever. We're still friends. Probably another element of that was probably the third of that girl didn't know either. So now, in addition to the world knows, now their good friend that they're very, very close friends with also knows, because they didn't tell her.
Yeah.
And they're like, or he banged both of them, and neither one knew. That's
you're the next level.
Yeah. Well, you gotta. Yeah. I was like, when we talked about it a little bit, like, would you be so upset if you found out, like, your husband's got these two girlfriends that he's hanging out with all the time, and one of them 2 years ago they got drunk and slept together? How would you feel? I was like, that's not great. But her point more was like, you talk all day long. That would be my issue. I don't mind if you're buddies and you hang out, but
we saw a lot of that vibe on this show altogether, and it's something that maybe for another episode we could talk about that, because by the numbers, I'm not talking about TV, but let's talk about real life. By the numbers, if it's an innocent friendship, we should get to have all the friendships.
Yeah.
But in the truth in relationship, it is real, and I may get pushback on this, but I don't know how practical it is to have friendships of the opposite sex separate from your relationship. Now, if the three of you are all friends, that becomes a little bit better. And certainly there's a maturity level where, you can do this. But I always kind of go that there are certain things that by the numbers are okay to do in relationship, but out of compassion and love for someone else's natural insecurity, we just don't get to do that now.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I think in relationship, like I heard it a lot on Love is Blind, where they're like, these are my friends and we do this and this is cool.
Yeah.
Not till 5 a.m, it's not cool. And,
absolutely
and not, to be honest with you, even texting and phone calls and stuff like that. It's a little much for me. I would, it's one thing to be like, these are my friends, but it's like if they're a big group of friends, but it's like, why are his two best friends girls? Well, there's a plus and a minus to that.
Or are they the only two girls that, like, his buddies wouldn't agree to be on? You gotta think about
there's
that too.
Yeah. But I like to look at it without, I'm still kind of Pollyanna in this. But what I'm getting at is, at some point in a relationship, don't we need to make a choice, a priority, that while you don't cut off friends that you had,
yeah,
but things shift when you are in a committed relationship.
Absolutely, yeah.
and the comfort of your partner matters, not codependently. Like you're not going to deny yourself things that are authentic and part of your life and rich, but if they are part of your life and not part of her life or his life, and it makes for being uncomfortable, what are you arguing for?
In the words of Chelsea, it made her uncomfy.
Made her uncomfy.
Made her uncomfy. But I've seen her.
But that's fair.
I've seen her in a couple of interviews saying what you didn't know was like a couple of nights before that, he was working on something and was at his apartment and said to her, I'm just going to go to bed because I'm here and I've got something early in the morning. And then said goodnight, sitting in his bed at his apartment. And then accidentally his phone came on and there was lots of people at his apartment. So he was lying. So a couple of things that happened like that of course we didn't know.
Yeah.
And her being like,
but we do know, because if you're somebody like me and somebody like most of the audience, when you hear people say stuff, and granted, we're getting things that are produced, so I don't know. Yeah. But you can hear, nah, dog. Yeah, you weren't talking in the parking lot till 5 a.m, Jeremy.
Oh my God!
Come on.
That was. Listen, I wouldn't mess with Laura for anything. I think she's just like, oh really? Because you sent your location. If you don't want me to check it, then don't send it. And I was like, because she was acting like she knew nothing. She played that perfect. And I was glad that
she played it perfect, except for not in real life perfect.
But she did. She hasn't talked to him again.
No, I just mean, B, this is where.
Okay, like tell me.
What about like, rather than going, I'm tracking you and then catching you in the lie? Yeah. Playing it perfect is playing the game of perfect, as opposed to saying, can I talk to you? Because last night I know where you were. Yeah. And you know what I mean? That's kind of from my seat. Like there's a lot of the drama that we love to watch gets eliminated with authentic conversation. And
but she did, and he was just lying to her face.
That's true.
She was saying, you were out till 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Where were you doing? What were you doing? And he was like, well, I was this, that, and the other. So she was trying to get the answer out of him. And finally she's like, I already know where you were. Like, but I did like how she sort of dropped the bomb on him at the end. And he's one of the grossest people we've seen on TV. Just like gross behavior wise. To then, on that same day, flaunt this thing with this other girl, Sarah Ann, I was trying to remember her name, Sarah Ann, and she was awful too. And then they were just a bundle of awfulness.
It's more fun for me to talk to you about these shows, because I can get into the seat of enjoying them instead of really taking it on emotionally.
Don't take it on emotionally, because just remember, all these people that are on it, they signed up for it. They're not required to be there by law. They've all signed up for it. They're all getting paid for it. Some of them you can tell, no, like, I make good TV, I'm going to do this. I mean, some of them have like been training their whole life for this, like put me in, you know? Some of them you can tell are like, I can't wait to be on TV. And some are genuinely there, you know, as they say on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or Bachelor, for the right reasons, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
I think what we have come to is the crossroads of why I am in therapy.
Yeah.
Is that I'm in a business that may be all that you say is the truth. Yeah. I get it. And you're right. And yet I still like to approach it from the standpoint of let them observe us dealing with real stuff, and let's try to keep it as real as humanly possible in this unreal situation. Yeah. And that takes effort and a toll on me sometimes. And now as a viewer, it's hard for me to know what I know about how these shows go.
Right. Well, that's true.
But that's why I was saying, I wish that I guess the dad in me, or the maybe the narcissist, I'm not sure, I got to really look at this, wants to talk it to them. I want to talk, because I hear them saying things and doing things that I understand where it's coming from, and I want to say, what's that really about? You know, if you're really looking for love, you busted him, he's a liar. Yeah, that's it. But what are you really needing? What really is going on here that you find yourself yet again in another relationship like this? You know, and that's kind of the conversation I like to have, which may not necessarily, may be in the wrong arena for that. But
no, I think that.
But I think audiences have that conversation.
Sometimes if you're just watching something, and like we say sometimes with recaps, we are recapping what's on our television.
That's right.
We're just recapping what's on our television now. Especially around Love is Blind, with all the chatter and all the stuff, you have to be like, okay, we're going to recap what's on our television, but at the beginning we may say, here's what's kind of been in the news about this couple, or just to sort of say, like, we do know that
you piece things together.
Probably this isn't true, but we're just recapping what's on our television.
Right. And the extenuating circumstances.
You should look at it the same way. I'm watching a TV show on my television. These people don't know me, and you know, and I don't know them. And so I don't need to fix them.
There it is.
Yeah. Now, if you're on Temptation Island, you're the host of that show.
That's a different story.
You are trying to fix them.
I'm not trying to fix them. I'm trying to ask them why. I'm trying to ask them why.
Yeah. I love Temptation Island. The favorite thing ever is when somebody will go like, well, damn, Mark. Look at you like, damn, because you nailed it. Whatever it was, like you nailed it. Yeah. I love that. And when you have some real bad news for somebody and all the women gather around. I love that too.
Yeah, I hate those.
I know you do.
The bad news parts, but I'm getting better with that.
Yeah.
You know, I want to also thank you, Mary Payne.
Okay.
First of all, that your just hint of Southern accent makes me feel safe and at home.
Oh, okay.
So, because I'm South Carolina, I was actually living in Virginia for a long time.
I'm Mississippi, so you know it's.
Is that what your accent is?
It's Mississippi,
Mississippi?
That's where I'm
I'm
from.
South Carolina, Virginia, Georgia, Alabama, that whole area. But I was a guest on your podcast.
Yeah.
And it was
couldn't believe it. It was such like a big get for us.
Oh, yeah. Well,
it
look
was.
how things have turned.
It was a huge get for us, yeah.
Well, thank you. I like to think that I'm held in that esteem. But you were kind and great, and I loved being on your podcast. That's why I asked you to be on mine.
Yeah.
I really appreciated our conversation, and I have since watched and listened. I listened to your podcast and you on other people's podcasts, and you add a there is fun. You make the reality world more fun for me. Listening to you recap and talk about it. I have been a non-listener of all the things reality because I'm in it.
Yeah.
And because my feelings get hurt so easily, I barely listen to anything. But now I'm kind of enjoying, people like you and others who are giving recaps that aren't so just venomous and kind of playful and fun. And
we really only shit on people if they're real bad people.
Yeah.
Like if they're known to be, like TLC will put on a person that's like, been arrested for something. And you're like, he's just a bad guy.
Yeah.
So we don't care if we're going to make fun of him because he's a bad guy.
Yeah, well,
we're going to make fun of his clothes and what he said and everything else. We don't care. We're going to make fun of his neck. We're going to make fun of everything. We don't give a shit. But
so I guess the reason I asked you to be my guest is to say that and to talk to you and also to beg you to never do that to me because I will listen.
We've never done that to you.
No, you haven't.
We always talk about.
You can do it. If I do something stupid or if I wear something stupid, you can say whatever. You get permission to say whatever.
No, we do say things like, Mark wears a lot of jackets. Is it hot in Maui? Is Mark hot?
So not into the jackets.
But I will say this about pushed up the jacket. We're like, isn't it hot?
It's funny you say that. First of all, the stylist that I'm happy to work with, that I will take a bullet for, is so great, and I love her.
Yeah.
And know that, and this is something to know, that when you talk about style, like I can say what I don't want to wear, kind of.
Yeah.
But I don't really have a lot to say there, nor does she, because the network is going to say, we don't want to see it. Like for seasons, it was like, no Aloha or Hawaiian shirts. You can't have any of those.
Too on the nose.
Right. And I was like, okay, but kind of in white, but whatever.
Right.
And then it was sweaters and jackets. And I'm like, and long pants. And I'm like, I know that right now within a 150-mile radius, no one is wearing as many clothes as I am.
No.
In this entire culture.
You've got to be hot.
I also choose to not sweat until we're done taping.
Oh, okay. Well, tell me your ways.
I'm bred for television.
Okay. I got it.
And so I don't pee and I don't sweat until we wrap. And then I'm allowed to use bodily functions, but it's unprofessional.
Are you guys ever going to get a bigger iPad?
We now have the whole screen.
But it's still this big, and the people are across the way, and you're like, let's watch the footage. And there's like everybody gather around ye old iPad. It's like this big. We're like, you got to get a screen.
The original
was a tiny little.
It was a clamshell with an actual, I think, like it played a disc.
Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was bad, but that was back in
That's my complaint.
After
you guys,
the Great War.
It's so funny. They're like, let's watch. And then it's all these people turn to watch this tiny little iPad on a stand. It's like, they've got those TVs now that you put on a stand that you can like roll around your house.
I think the last season we had a bigger one. But it's getting...
It was an iPad Pro.
I can't really speak to the future of that show yet.
Okay.
But I have a feeling that all things that you want are going to be taken care of.
Good. I've got notes. I've got notes.
I'm pretty
We
excited.
love Temptation Island. Love. It's a little bit, it's a little bit of trashy. And we do enjoy the space blankets because, when they do the video from the corner with the night vision, it looks like they're under space blankets.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is hilarious.
Like we're trying to keep them from going into shock after
Yes.
a marathon. It could be.
Could be that too.
Literally for their so they don't get hypothermia or because they're dehydrated. I don't know. All of those things are possible.
Yeah, it seems like there are a lot of bugs there too. It seems very buggy.
Well, I want to. I know that you've been in town and you've been guesting and hosting and doing all things pod.
Work.
And and thanks for squeezing me in. Because
I was thrilled to come here. I've seen this place on video so much.
It's a hotbed of San Fernando Valley podcast scene.
It's a real man cave.
You can really sense the energy of the people who've come in and out of here. And
yeah, there's a lot of testosterone in here, I feel like.
There's also, this couch is very estrogen laden as well, which is why maybe I feel more comfortable on this couch. I don't know. But I think that's fair to say. I think we have all the hormones.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. That's good. It doesn't smell like guys in here, so that's good too.
No.
Yeah.
Come back at 7. I think it will have a stench of all things, but that won't have anything to do with me.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. That's
thank you. And so are you headed back to Virginia?
Headed back to Virginia on Wednesday morning. I'm going to be on John Hill's XM radio show tomorrow morning, and that's exciting for me.
Well,
live radio. What will I do?
That is exciting. Mm-hmm. It always makes me nervous, live radio. Mm-hmm. But there's not a whole lot different than this podcast world that I'm learning. So know that the door is always open for you here. Yeah. And I hope you'll have me back on your show.
Absolutely.
Because I'm a big get. So
you are a big get.
Really
yes. Everybody loves that.
Yeah. I'm glad I could help. And travel safe.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, MP. Pink Shade Podcast, 3 episodes a week.
Mm-hmm. For free.
3 free episodes a week. So after you've listened and watched this, get all the Pink Shade you can get. And thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks.